Good evening and welcome to Football Fever, episode number, I forgot what it is, episode 3. Welcome to Marc, Fergus and Martin. For those of you that have seen previous episodes and the old show will recognise Marc as a United fan, Martin as a Spurs fan. And welcome Fergus, an Arsenal fan.
Thanks for having me.
We're live on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube tonight. So please, if you're watching this show, we'd really appreciate if you can like and share, tell all your friends. If you're interested in joining the show in the future, just drop us a line on any of those formats and I'll give you a shout back. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into today's West Ham Arsenal game. And Fergus, how was that for you?
I was at the 83rd minute when we equalised. I just wanted the game to end, to be honest. Spend the whole that's my mentality of Arsenal at the moment. I thought we've got something to hold on to now. Let's just let it end. But it was it was a very, very stressful watch, as I'm sure it was for you as well. I think that we showcased everything that's bad about the team when we kind of start slowly in the first half, and then when Lacazette scored, I kind of thought, please God, don't give me any hope that we're going to get back into the game. And then as we grew into it, we seemed to get a lot better. And then we had Antonio hitting the post at the end. So it was a true roller coaster. And you think about talking points within that game. There was far too many to mention. There was a lot of incidents crammed into 90 minutes in that game. So it's a great game for the neutral, probably, but a very stressful watch from an Arsenal West Ham point of view, I'd probably say.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very open game, and I kind of got into our laugh. We've had a run of quite tough games where I've gone into it and said, it doesn't really matter if we lose it by 2 or 3, if we go out and have a go, and we haven't really. We could see when the teams came out today that we were going to have a go against you, and we did, and it started really well and everything. But that's the price you pay. We can park the bus against Man City and only lose by 1 goal, or United only lose by 1 or 2 goals. But it's frustrating for the fans because you've not really got a chance of winning it. So I'm really just glad that we went for it today. And for me, as Arsenal grew into the game and got better and better, the superior players on Arsenal's team kind of shone through towards the end of the game. And we're always going to get chances because we're that kind of team, aren't we? We're like a bit rough and ready, and we'll always pull something out. And I thought we had a couple of moments in the second half. The one where Lingard got through and then John Moss pulled him back for. I didn't get it because we had the advantage, and he waited for the advantage to accrue, and then pulled it back when we clearly had the advantage, and then that Antonio one. But they were just moments really, and I think when you look at the chances that Arsenal had, in addition to their goals in the second half,
I was still. Go on, carry on. Sorry.
Because I would have taken 3-3 when the third goal went in. I would have taken full time there and then as well.
Yeah. I think that I still can't quite figure that. Oh, Spurs have scored, have they? Yeah, Spurs have scored. That's a shame. We've still got the
delayed.
Sorry, mate.
You're ahead of the rest of us. We're all on out.
Sorry to do that. I think we had. I still couldn't quite figure out what that was about because I felt like there was an elbow that went on Partey, like it's a loose arm or whatever, and then there was a foul on Lingard. And I couldn't quite figure out what the ref had given it for. And then, obviously, everyone was quite angry afterwards. But I'm not quite sure what the ref was thinking in that moment. Because there was one foul that he kind of seemed to have an eye on. And there was another foul. And then it carried on.
I think Martin's just seen the goal.
Yeah,
and I've just seen it now as well. It's funny, we're all on different timelines there.
Bloody Vinicius.
Yeah, to be honest, because I thought it was a funny one. Because I thought at the time that it was Souček that committed the foul, not won the foul.
Yeah, same.
So I was a bit lost to what had gone on, and then when we
something happened in the ref's mind. Yeah, he seemed to just that foul. He noticed that foul, and then he saw the other foul, and I think he just got confused in the moment. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird.
A special moment, but I think there's as usual. I know Twitter's a bit of a cesspit, isn't it? But I think after the game, I thought, I'll just go and have a look because I was quite upbeat at the end of the game. I thought, what a great game of football to be part of, and I just wanted us to have a go, and we did. And then I went on Twitter and, the West Ham fan, we've chucked this away, we've thrown away, defending was awful. And I was like, to be fair, Arsenal were just, they came into the game. And you could talk about 2 own goals, but to call the Souček one an own goal, really, it's technical, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was he going to do? Move his foot out of the way? And then, it didn't make any sense to me at all. And then the Dawson one, it was one of those, if he hadn't been there,
Aubameyang's tucking that away otherwise.
Touched it in. So, just, the rub of the green sometimes, isn't it? So
I think so. It's just It was one of those games. It was really interesting to watch. Went both ways. Both teams had chances. We were terrible in the first half, and you were kind of got worse as the game went on, and we grew into it. I think that Odegaard, who was absolute quality. Please God, if we can still keep him somehow, I'd be very, very happy with that. Lacazette played well. Aubameyang's peripheral. I don't know why he left Saka on for so long, because he was kind of drifting out the game as well, screaming out for Pepe. So there's a few moves that would have made. Arteta does seem to be quite slow sometimes to make the changes that, as an armchair fan, I would make. Or doesn't tend to give people enough time on the pitch. But I think once the changes were made and Martinelli and those guys came on, I had confidence we could get something. But again, coming back to the earlier point, I think once we got that equaliser, I was like, right, that's it. Just try and close the game out, and just everyone could be happy with that after the amount of action that's been poured into this game.
Yeah. So what do you make of Aubameyang this season? Because this is a guy that set the league of Europe on fire, including the Premier League when he joined us, and so re-signed in the summer on that basis as well, and just isn't firing this season. What I mean, obviously he's out on the wing, but what's the issue with him?
It's the first time we're going to look at Aubameyang. He's usually all smiles, seems to be fun to be around, always on form, finds goals when you need them. But this season, I think he's had some personal issues and stuff that's gone on, and he just hasn't quite been himself. You can just see it in his body language. Kind of, he's hunched over. He's not quite happy. He's not getting the goals he wants. He's absolute quality. There's no doubt about that. The fact that we managed to keep him was good. There's always that bit of debate with Aubameyang and Arsenal players at the moment when there's lack of money, being that we don't tend to spend that much money. Or not recently with our current owners. I know we've showed a lot of money on Pepe's and Partey's and stuff like that, but we always seem to spend what we've got. You kind of think with Aubameyang coming into that period of his career, if he could have got a big move and a big money signing away, would we not better placed to have cashed in on Aubameyang at that peak of his powers, winning the FA Cup final, and then reinvesting it? But I think when you see Aubameyang's peak, it's kind of you're glad you still got him. So there's a little bit of you're trying to understand whether we maybe should have, because that's the problem at Arsenal. There's never anyone playing devil's advocate. Like, he's great. Same with Ozil or Walcott. All these players, when they kind of be hitting form at the right time, when the contract's coming to a bit of an end, no one's playing devil's advocate. They're going, we could sign them, but I'll be better off cashing in while they're at the peak of their time. Wenger was very good at that, to be fair, cutting his losses when players, when you think they should have stuck around a bit longer. But he's actually quality. I just don't think he's found his true rhythm yet this season. He seems to have a couple of goals to get into the game, and then he's bad again. So he definitely wasn't on very. I've never seen him with that kind of body language before, where he's moping around a bit. He's just trying to get into the game. He's trying to do all the right things. We're just not coming off for him. So I think he's still quality, but it's not quite been his season. I think. In fact, this whole season really kind of waiting for it to end a little bit, so you can kind of see where we're at next year. We've got players like Partey and they've come in. They're not quite showing their full ability yet. We're going to hopefully get some respectful end to the season. Then looking forward to next.
Yeah. I mean, Mark, what do you make of it? Because, Aubameyang, as a United fan, Aubameyang, he's the kind of striker that when you guys talk about having someone in the middle that can, do a bit of everything, that's the kind of player you'd go for, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of this season, I think he was being talked about more than the likes of Haaland and what have you, wasn't he? He was the one being linked with United and Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG, etc. You don't just become a shit player overnight. He's just had an off season, I think.
Yeah.
And he will undoubtedly come good again. He's absolutely class. And if United were linked with him, I wouldn't be unhappy, because he's clearly got a hell of a lot to offer the club. Yeah. It's strange that it's almost like since he got given the permanent captaincy, almost he's just gone down a bit. I do sometimes wonder whether the captaincy lies a bit heavy on some players, and they're better off just being given the freedom to go and play without having to worry too much about that. But
I think Arteta said, didn't he, when at the end of when he was trying to convince him to stay again, he said, "I want to build the team around you." But then you've not really seen much evidence of him, really building the team around him. He's kind of been on the wing sometimes, up front sometimes. It's not like he's really quite. He chops and changes him just as much as he does other players sometimes. So I don't think really gives you a true sense of the fact he's building a team around him. So,
surely you're looking at building the team around Thomas Partey or Odegaard. Should that be made a permanent signing? They're the kind of linchpins that they're going to build a future for, aren't they? Really?
Yeah.
I think even when Aubameyang is out of form, if teams see him on the team sheet, you get the fear factor, don't you?
Yeah.
So, it's a matter of time before the goals come again, and he's got that big smile on his face. So.
Yeah, he'll always give the opposition something to think about. That's the thing. Like you mentioned with Odegaard and Partey. Like Partey's got to, again. He hasn't fully hit his heights yet. I think he's still. It's something that Merson said before the game started today. He's very disciplined, and sometimes he's almost too disciplined for my liking, because he'll kind of sit in that role. He'll keep it tidy. He'll do the things he needs to be doing. I mean, I wish he'd stop shooting, because he can't shoot. That's one thing that's quite clear. But yeah, he's very disciplined in that role. So I kind of appreciate it. I'm really waiting for next season for him to kind of find his stride in this team and carry it forward a bit, because he's a quality player. I think we need him to loosen up a little bit. He's less rigid.
You've been crying out for that, though, haven't you, really, Fergus? You know, a player that is reliable in that area, that's a really neat passer, that mops things up nicely. He's technically good. I
just think he's the best. He's by far the best midfielder we've got. I mean, Xhaka's the second best midfielder, which tells you a lot. And you just think you probably want to see him doing more with the ball, but he's constantly getting it and giving it to the others. And we're like, no, occasionally, can you do something a bit more with it, please?
I'm one of those rare, some might say stupid people that actually like Xhaka. So as a neutral of a football team, I think he's made mistakes in his career, but I like it. I like his commitment and attitude. Got a great shot at him. Works hard for the team, and I think he's just one of those players that every time he's involved in a goal against Arsenal, it kind of gets amplified. Like his mistake the other week, it was just really unlucky. It was silly, but it was unlucky at the same time.
I think a lot of people have made their mind up about him already. A lot of people have made their mind up about him already, which doesn't help. So they're kind of the first time he makes a mistake, it's just that people are all over it. But he's been a good. He has actually been, like you say, he has actually been quite good this season. But I think a lot of he's carrying too much baggage from what he's done previously. But yeah, he's definitely very committed, and he's got a pass. He's pretty solid, but he'll make those mistakes, and you can't. The same with Luis. He can be very, very good. But he'll do a few things. You think, that's why most people don't like you, because you keep making those same mistakes.
Right, Martin. So it was it's a different Arsenal this week to last week, really, wasn't it? Where they kind of dominated throughout against Tottenham, on the back of kind of a few very strong Spurs performances in that North London derby. So, what fundamentally went wrong for you last Sunday in Spurs' performance?
We were shit. This is the point blank. The point blank of it all is we were awful. I mean, in my opinion, the Arsenal goals, the penalty was a bit. Here, I agreed. I thought it was a penalty, but then after a few days, I kind of started looking at it and going, "Was it?"
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
And then obviously the Odegaard goal, that was just, that was good. But for us, it was just I don't know. You can sit there. I mean, I've kind of gone from Jose in to Jose out now. And I don't really think, even if he wins the Carabao Cup, which he's not, I can't see this mentality. It was interesting to see today. Obviously, he's changed his formation. He's put 2 strikers on. But we're still only 1-0 up with 6% possession in their third of the pitch against a team without Jack Grealish and.
You're winning though, mate. The glass sounds kind of half full for you or half empty at the moment. But
no,
I'm a bit surprised that you win a cup final and you're saying you can't win it, because anything can happen on the day, can't it? And then everyone can say but City. But I've got a question further down about who's going to beat City and when. You've got a chance because you're in the final against City. You've got a team full of professionals and you've got a manager that his specialty is one-off games, isn't it? So,
but not recently. They lose to Arsenal, lose to Zagreb. That was just a joke. It was in my hotel room just screaming on Thursday night. Unacceptable. We had to do score one, just one.
Yeah.
Bale, Moira, and
I feel like you need a cuddle, Mark.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've needed a football cuddle.
Do you feel like Mourinho's lost his way a little bit? Do you feel like he's not kind of? I feel like when I saw a couple of the starting lineups and he's starting with Bale, Kane, Son, and he's putting all these attacking players on. So this isn't his style. He can't be comfortable doing that. It's not what he really. I'm not sure that's in his DNA to go out and try and attack teams. So that's what I always found quite weird. Is he just he's putting out teams that I wouldn't expect from him, and then over time he's kind of not getting results. I just find it quite strange from Jose.
Yeah, I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think a lot of folk, a lot of people have said, "Oh, he's a dinosaur," and I'm starting to sort of look at it and think, well, maybe he is. Maybe he's lost touch of modern football, and he's not. You've got Pep, the Jedi of it, and even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Everyone writ him off, but now look at him. He's turning over some great results. The first team to beat City in how long? And
wow.
Yeah, and I just think potentially this will potentially be Jose's last job in club management if this goes tits up.
When you say club management, is that because you think he's going to go for the Portugal national team or another national team, or he's going to be a pundit? Where do you see him?
Probably go back to
going
being a pundit. They go back to being a pundit, I reckon, because I don't think it only Tottenham could hire the world's most successful manager and still not win a trophy. It's in our DNA to just consistently bottle it.
Yeah, well, we all know that.
It wouldn't surprise me if. Sorry, I keep hearing Roberto Martinez linked with lots of club jobs. It wouldn't surprise me to see Mourinho go to somewhere like Belgium.
He likes the siege mentality, Jose, doesn't he? So that was a key to his success at Chelsea, especially. The us against the world type of thing. And I think it's easier to foster that with the national team than maybe it is with the club team. And I mean, this brings us right down to our third point of the night. In a way, Josie out ? What did you make of his interview after the game on Thursday, Martin, where he basically blamed the team for everything? It was that old line, wasn't it? Of there's nothing wrong with my tactics; it's the players' application of them.
You can only get away with that conversation a couple of times. There's only a few times players before people start thinking, well, hang on, you're the manager here. You're supposed to be either disciplining or guiding, teaching, putting your stamp on their play. But that's not happening. So then the question's asked, well, what's he doing? What's he doing in the dressing room after, you get pumped 3-0 by Zagreb? What's he saying to him?
Yeah.
I think.
Got to wonder what's going on in the changing room right now. And so as far as you're concerned, regardless of the result tonight, if you were Daniel Levy on Monday morning, what would you be saying to Jose? Would it be another 3 games? Would it be cut your losses now, end of the season? What would you do, Martin?
Well, you don't know what's in his contracts. You don't know what his you get out clauses are. There may be. I mean, Daniel Levy is the tightest. He's tighter than an under. Yeah. And Jose likes to spend his money. There has to be some kind of clause in that contract somewhere. I think they won't sack him, not without a clause. Because if someone said 14 million to get rid of him, there's that money's not around at the moment just to waste on sacking managers.
Unbelievable.
And Daniel Levy is.
That's 7 Craig Dawsons.
Yeah.
My God, imagine the own goals. He's still the GOAT though, Mark, before you get started.
I'm
getting a bit depressed now, Martin. I'm getting a bit depressed. I think we should move on from Spurs.
Yeah, right.
Something a bit more jolly.
Can I answer the question with Jose out? Can I answer the question with Jose out?
Of course you can. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, give him a contract for life.
It's the same thing we said about.
I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah, well, me too. It's we've enjoyed playing Spurs this season as well. Thanks, Jose. Agent Mourinho, it's been fantastic. Sorry, Martin.
Right, that's all right. You can do it. You can do it. You know, he who has the first laugh and all that malark.
I still think Arsenal was still one of the teams that came. I mean, earlier in the season, we still fell into the Tottenham trap when we lost. Trying, you know, they were just sitting deep. We threw everything forward, and they scored a couple of goals and we lost the game. It was just classic Mourinho. I was so annoyed earlier on in the season. We still falling into that trap after all these years. I think the game the other day was only the third time that we've beaten him in the Premiership, which is mad.
It's worth remembering Spurs were top of the league. If you go back to some of our earlier shows, we were talking about Spurs and Chelsea, and this is when Lampard was in charge as well. Competing for the league, and City were in, can't remember now, like 12th or 13th. United weren't playing well. Liverpool hadn't got going yet, and they were the only two consistent teams in the first kind of 10 games of the season that were pushing. I think Southampton were up there as well. But
looking at the table now, if this result hangs off, we're only 3 points off fourth.
Yeah. It's tight around there. And no one's really kind of winning game after game, are they? So Liverpool's still in the mix. You're still in the mix. Villa aren't far off. It's which brings us to our next topic. So 9 games left, roughly, for most teams. So who's your top 4 for the last end of the season, lads? Mark.
I think Man City are going to win it.
Oh, psychic.
Second, I'm going to say will either be Chelsea or Leicester. Third will be either Chelsea or Leicester. And fourth will be Man United.
Yeah, good call. Fergus?
I'm going to be really, really lazy here and say I think it's going to finish how it is right now. City, United, Leicester, Chelsea. I had a look at that league table and I thought that probably looks. I haven't gone through. Apologies, I haven't gone through and looked at who's playing who at the end. But I think Man United kind of seem they've got a bit of steel about them. I think they can hold on. Leicester will be. Leicester again. They beat Man United today, didn't they? Look pretty comfortable, but I still think they'll probably have a little bit of the yips after what happened last season but they'll stay in there. And then Chelsea, annoyingly, will probably nick the 4th spot. I'm sorry that I don't think West Ham are going to do it this time.
No, I've got no illusions that we are going to be fair. It's nice to be where we are, and it'll be it's a great season for us. We're having a great time, but top 4. What would we do? We haven't got a squad for a Europa League campaign really, let alone a Champions League one. So we can barely cope with this Premier League and being knocked out of all the cups, player wise. So Martin.
Yeah, I'm the same as Fergus, if I'm honest. I think as it stands now. And I think that could potentially spits us top 6 and all. I could see West Ham and Spurs just holding on for those last 2 spots. But the upside, obviously, being if Man City win all 4, then we'll have there'll be the additional Europa League spot, which will benefit.
Yeah. Come on, City! more slots for English clubs. That's what we want. Don't let us down, Pep. Come on.
I do think Liverpool are going to nick 5th or 6th.
They've got to get up ahead of steam at some point, haven't they? And they've started playing a bit better. Yeah. For me, it's City, Man United. I think Man United have got the easiest run-in of all the teams. They've got no one left to play that they wouldn't expect not to beat, I'd say, on paper.
They're the games that we don't win out.
Well, it's in terms of kind of what you tend to find, home straight is when the big teams start to perform, and the kind of lesser teams that haven't got as much experience as title run-ins tend to start dropping points, and that's where historically the Leicesters of this world would have dropped off towards the end of the season. This season, I think they will. I think that's a really good side, but I think they've got real fragility as well. Really good season this season. But I think they'll finish fourth. So I'm going City, United, Chelsea, Leicester. But interesting, we've all got the same 4 teams in the top 4. We don't see any.
I think if anyone was gonna bottle it, it'd be probably Leicester. Out of those 4, if anyone was going to drop points, it'd be them.
I guess the other thing to note is Chelsea aren't conceding many goals at all under Thomas Tuchel, but they've not had any really tough games in the Premier League. Well, they've had 1, I think. And they're not scoring loads of goals, so that, you could argue there's a bit of fragility there as well. That they're playing really well. Yeah. They're in Europe as well, but they're not blowing teams out of the water. They won 1-0 today, and the manager's come out after the game and said his players are tired. Like, you've got the biggest squad in the Premier League, so if your players are tired now, then you've still got nine games in a couple of months. So I think maybe Chelsea potentially want to watch. Sorry,
I don't rate Tuchel.
Me either, but why don't you, Martin?
I don't think he's good enough. I think you look at what he did with PSG. No, come on, that's a PSG side. I mean, even Poch is doing well with them. But, I just don't...
Apparently.
But I don't see it. And like you said, he's not really played any decent teams. He's not scoring a massive amount of goals. I just don't see it. I think you look at some of the other managers, and to me, they're just heads and tails above him. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I look at their results and I look at what they've done. I just think, they're all right. But
see, I think they're playing really well, and the build up and their retention and their passing is fantastic. Probably their one-touch passing is superior to City's at the moment. They're the most. They play the style most akin to kind of the old Barcelona tiki-taka under Guardiola that I've seen in the Premier League for a while. Because a lot of teams, including City, it's 2 touches. It's fast passing, but it's 2 touches rather than 1. And Chelsea are doing lots of first touch football, and it's really good. And they get right the way up the park, and then they're just not that clinical in taking their chances at the moment. And you might argue they're lacking a top of world class. When you look at all the money they've spent on kind of attacking midfielders, but they haven't got a Haaland or an Mbappe or someone like that, have they? They've got Giroud and Tammy Abraham, who brilliant players.
They're 2 quality strikers. Yeah.
I'd love to have Abraham at West Ham any day of the week, just so we've got more than 1 striker. But no, I think he's a really good player. But in terms of Chelsea competing at the top level, I think would you put Tammy Abraham in the same bracket as Haaland, Mbappe, Lewandowski? You wouldn't, would you? And so perhaps that's what Chelsea are still missing.
That's what they bought Werner for, wasn't it? I think wasn't he supposed to be
yeah.
that guy?
Do we think, or do you think, Fergus, that once a few goals go in, the floodgates will open for Werner, or do you think he was just flattered by German football?
I was. You know what? I don't know a lot about him, but when I first saw him turn up at Chelsea and I saw how rapid he was, he just looked like a quality player. And I'm surprised that he hasn't. I don't know. It's one of those answers. It might never happen for him. It's not. Several people have come to this league, and for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out. I thought if he was going to click and the goals were going to be raining in, it would have happened by now. Personally, he's been played off. He looks very good. He looks like he does all the right things, but for one reason or another, it's not coming off for him. And maybe it's a setup. Maybe it's Lampard brought him in and didn't really know what to do with him. I don't think Lampard really knew what he was doing to a great extent, which is why I think they're probably seeing a good resurgence of Chelsea now. But whether Tuchel's going to be the man to take them to the next level, because you usually expect a bit of a bounce, don't you, for a new manager to come in, settle things down. Players, we've got a lot of good players there playing for their place in the team. But then it's whether they get how do they push on from here. That will be what they get judged by. But he looks like a class act. And when I saw Chelsea sign him, I was annoyed. They've gone and spent big money on another quality striker, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it might not happen for him if it hasn't yet.
Yeah. What do you make of it, Mark? Of the Werner situation?
I don't think it's going to click for him, if I'm honest. I think he's going to carry on at the level he's at. He'll grab a goal or two along the way, but I don't think he's ever going to really take the league by storm. And then he'll eventually move on, maybe back to Germany. I think it won't be long before Tuchel brings in a big striker. Maybe that will help Werner if he brings in another player to take the pressure off him. I think since he came in, it's why isn't Werner scoring? Why isn't Werner scoring? If somebody else is scoring, people won't care too much whether Werner's scoring, but he'll be there behind him, creating chances, making moves. Maybe that will be his best role. Is just behind, or a bit, maybe a bit like a Rashford role.
Yeah. Well, do you think Tuchel's lost faith in him already by the fact that he's moved Havertz into like a false number 9 role? So that's put a lot of reliance on Havertz to provide a goal scoring threat now, isn't it? That wasn't before, or is that just trying to find a better way to work with Havertz?
I don't think he's lost faith in him. I think he's just still working his squad out. He's just still playing with it.
Oh,
he's only been there a couple of months, isn't he? If that.
Outside. What's that? Children fighting there. Cat. Sorry. Sounded brutal. Didn't mean to cut you off, Mark. Sorry. Cat was. So point number 4 was, can Chelsea win the Champions League? Martin.
No.
Yeah.
It's a no from Kilby.
No, I don't think they've clicked enough to be able to punish Bayern's, PSG's, and alike. Man City would I think they'd open them up. But
they destroyed
you never know.
The other night, though. I mean, it's comprehensive the way they put them to bed. It was a really strong performance. For the full 90 minutes, Atletico didn't get a look in. They controlled it, and Atletico are top of La Liga. Got some great players. Really attacking threats still in Suarez, who I think is the top scorer in the league, or one of the top scorers in the Liga. Chelsea put them to bed. I mean, they looked ordinary against them. So, could that be a stepping stone?
No, I think he'll focus on the Premier League to get 4th rather than worry about trying to win the Champions League. And that's where they'll fall flat.
Okay. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, why not? Stranger things have happened. He shored them up at the back. If he can go through the next couple of games in the Champions League, winning them 1-0, why not?
Good one.
I think I've got a very strong feeling they're going to be in the final anyway.
I think they can do it. What do you think, Fergus?
No, not for me. I don't think they can, and I don't want them to either. So, for those 2 reasons, it's a no from me.
Category. Is it?
I don't think any of us want them to.
You see, now I'm a fan of a team that's never reached Champions League final or a Champions League. Come to mention that, so I'm very supportive of any British team in Europe progressing, whoever they are, including Spurs. I might draw the line at Millwall, I suppose, but look, following Scottish football, I'm a Rangers fan. I'd still support once Scotland are there. I mean, I wouldn't. This probably wouldn't be very popular in Scotland, but I still support Celtic when they're in the knockout rounds as well. So for me, if Chelsea were there, I'd be mad for it. My ideal Champions League final is 2 English teams, because then I can't go home disappointed at the end of it. And I get to
I think we differ on that one.
Yeah. I was round.
I don't revel in other teams' success. I just can't. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
Me neither.
Two of the people in the room. Mark, I was there with you for the Man United Champions League win against Chelsea, where the hero John Terry came up to score the winning penalty and slipped, and off they trotted. And Martin, I was with you for the Liverpool Spurs one, around Lee's house.
Yeah.
Apparently, I spilt a load of booze and can't remember it, but it was a really good night. Well, we started early that day, I'll say that much. All right.
We did, yeah.
We're going to jump up to point 6, lads. So the England squad. We had a bit of chat about this in the Facebook chat room, didn't we? About who should and shouldn't have been selected. So start with you, Fergus. Was there any shockers in there in the selection that you shouldn't have been in?
No, you know what? I haven't kept a close eye on the England squad this time around. But what I have, when I looked at the squad, what I find very interesting is just the complete rebuild of the midfield. It just, we've got Bellingham in there, Foden, Lingard, Mount, Phillips, Declan Rice, and James Ward-Prowse. That's the midfield, right?
Quality.
I mean, there's a lot of good players in there, but I have yet to see how those guys are going to play together, how that's going to work. It's so far removed from the England teams that I've been looking at previously that I'm just quite curious to see what the plan is for that set of midfielders. The defence I get, the attack I get, midfield I don't know what that looks like, what formation they're playing.
Well, you've got to think that Grealish and Maddison are injured at the moment as well, so they will both probably be in contention for the Euros as well. And Henderson. Yeah. They're fit. All three of those will probably be on the plane, won't they?
Is Henderson not fit at the moment?
No.
Right, okay. Because he's the one of experience you'd want to see in there.
Yeah, he's the guy that controls the tempo in midfield, isn't there? And that was, I think, when we were talking earlier in the season about the England squad, we had a conversation about tempo, and that you need someone that understands kind of that international. Controlling the national game, the tempo of your team's performance is really important. That if you just turn up with a bunch of kids at a tournament, it can backfire against the big boys, and that's where your Hendersons and your Kanes really come in, because they get that. They just get it 100%, don't they? So, Martin, any shockers for you from the selection? Anyone you think shouldn't have been selected this time?
Yeah, half of them. No, obviously, I was quite quiet on the chat for that day. It was a bit of a mad one for work. But, I mean, the fact that Eric Dyer's name was in there offended every fibre of my being. Like, he should not be anywhere near that squad. And Keane, why was he not in that squad?
Yeah, he's having a great season.
Let's just swap them straight out. Wan-Bissaka, are you joking? Where's Wan-Bissaka? Your front three are going to pretty much be the same front three. The midfield swap, like Fergus said, is quite interesting. It'd be good to see how that works, because there are some wicked players. But you just sit there and hope that Eric Dyer does not come on the pitch.
Is there a possibility that Dyer's in there as a backup holding midfielder? We've not got many holding midfielders, have we? And with Henderson injured, so you've got Rice and Phillips there. Phillips hasn't played for England yet, has he? Or don't think he's played a competitive game for England yet. So perhaps it's that bit of experience for if Rice gets injured during the game and you've just got Phillips there, that you need another holding mid.
Yeah, I mean they could put him in that. I don't think that would be best for the team. I think just leave him out. But yeah, he can obviously do the defensive midfield, and he can play centre back. But I think he spent so long playing centre back now. You'd put him in defensive midfield, and I think he'd just get lost. He'd just be spinning in circles. But no, I don't think he's right for that team. I mean, I don't think he's earned a spot on that plane. I mean, he's not even in the Tottenham starting lineup at the minute. So why would he be in the England squad? For me, it just seems weird. But I still don't think Kane should be captain.
Should be England captain. Who should be?
No, Henderson.
Yeah.
Henderson for me is a bigger leader. Kane may be a silent leader, as they said in the Amazon thing. But you don't want a silent leader. What good is a silent leader? It's just great pointless. Team talk, so. Henderson's loud there. Yeah. Great team talks.
All two of his syllables. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
But yeah. Harry as a captain.
Well, surely it's just a matter of time before Rice becomes England captain anyway, isn't it? A couple of years tops.
Well,
how long till you said that?
Well, the minute he moves to a big team and becomes captain of that team, I think it won't be long before he's England captain. You can say I'm biased, but the guy's got everything in his. He's 21. By the time he's 24, he's just going to be a world beater, isn't he? Oh, that's close, isn't it? So, Mark, shockers for you. I know you had one or two.
Yeah, I mean, when it first came out, I wasn't impressed at all. I then calmed down and realised the fact that it's a bit of an experimental squad based on the back of the injuries of Grealish, Maddison, Henderson, Jadon Sancho. I think there's a couple of others. But for me, there's still some glaring, strange decisions. Connor Cody, not in form. Eric Dyer, we covered. Calvin Phillips, I don't think he's quite at England level yet.
Really?
James Ward-Prowse, not in form.
Have you watched much Phillips this season, like whole games? Oh, I just think he's different. Yeah. I think he's different.
Yes, and I actually watch him looking for what people are talking about, and I can't. He's great. He is great, but I don't think he's England level just yet. I think another season or two, and I think we've discussed before. I think if he gets a move to a bigger club, I think he could be something very special. But at the minute, I'm not convinced. I wasn't convinced in his first couple of games for England.
Just a question for you on that before you move on to the next players then. So with that in mind, so the tournament's this summer. The next tournament we're in 21. So the next tournament's actually next year, isn't it? Keep it in line. So the World Cup next year. Yeah. So would you take, if you think Phillips would be good enough this time next year, would you put him on the plane this year so that he's been to a tournament so that he's experienced it and he could shine? After kind of like they did with Rio Ferdinand when he was 17 or whatever he was and went to the World Cup, didn't kick a ball, but experienced it with the team.
On the back of who else we've got in that position, being Jordan Henderson and Declan Rice, yes, because we don't know how many more years Jordan Henderson has got at that level.
Probably these two competitions, isn't it? The Euros and the World Cup.
But for the minute, I'd be taking Henderson and Declan Rice in the holding mid position. And it seems that Eric Dyer is going to be going, whether we like it or not. So he's sort of third back up.
So what do we think about Kieran Trippier getting back in? So there's a few returns to the squad, wasn't there? Kieran Trippier was one of them, having a great season at Atletico. He was excellent against Chelsea the other night. Didn't make a single mistake in 90 minutes. Just the old Trippier. And, what he's just one of those players that I thought when he left Spurs, what are you doing? Why are you selling him? Surely you should be doing everything you could to play to keep a player like that. And he's kind of gone to the periphery of the England team. In the meantime, sometimes he plays, sometimes he doesn't. But he hasn't. This isn't Danny Rose. This is Trippier. He hasn't become a bad player. He's still performing at a high level. So, we talk quite a lot about kind of our professionals going abroad to get more experience and become better footballers. So when they come back and play for England or for Premier League teams, they'll be better. But we kind of forget about them a bit when they go abroad, don't we? Yeah, there was people expressing surprise that Trippier's in the squad.
You've got to remember, though, Al, he's gone to a team. He is a defender, and he's gone to play for Diego Simeone, who seems to be a master of setting up defensive teams. He must have learned so much in the last year or so. That can only be good for his development. Not only that, as you say, Atletico Madrid are doing very well in the Liga. So he's going to come back with a defensive education from Diego Simeone and a winning mentality.
Hey, my mind.
And a trophy, absolute quality. And links with Man United.
So
Kieran Trippier is a quality player. I was gutted when he went. And I think he could be a good addition to the England team. Should he start? Not sure, but
They can join the queue for right backs, aren't they? There's so many good right backs, which I think kind of answers the Wan-Bissaka question. Maybe not categorically because he's been playing so well, but there's a school of thought that we should just have United fullbacks, isn't there? Because they're playing so well. That why wouldn't you have Shaw and Wan-Bissaka if you're looking at good defensive fullbacks that can run the lines, are super fit, all of that. They're great players, aren't they? Right, so going to go into United against Leicester, Mark. I'm really sorry. You have my condolences at this sad time. So what went wrong for United in Leicester against Leicester in the cup today?
I mean, from what I saw of it, it wasn't that anything particularly went wrong. It was just a bad day at the office, I think, for United, and Leicester capitalised on that, really. I think we set up very strangely to be starting with Van der Beek. I don't understand it in an FA Cup quarter final.
Why not? Why not? You paid a lot of money for him.
He's not up to it at the moment. I haven't seen one even very good performance from him yet.
For you. Yeah.
I think for us, yeah. I think Ole is he keeps giving him a game here or there, hoping that he's going to have that game that everyone goes, that's why they got him. But every game he's disappointing. He gives the ball away so much, it's painful. When we went in at half time at 1-1, I thought we've got away with that there. And then there was the semi-final draw. We got Southampton in the draw, and you think, wow, this is a great chance to go to the FA Cup final. We've got to go for it second half. I expected him to make some changes at half time. He didn't, but he hung on for another 15, 20 minutes. 64th minute, he brings on Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Cavani, and who was the other one? Scott McTominay. And I thought, right, here we go. And we did pick the game up, but Leicester shit themselves so much they went and scored twice.
Should you have started with those players then, Mark? Because I'm not talking about disrespect to the FA Cup or anything like that. Because I know obviously United had a Europa League game 3 days ago, and they are going to rotate the squad for Sunday games. It's probably the third in their priority of those three things. They definitely want to win the Europa League and finish as high as they can in the league to get the best possible Champions League position for next season, but also more money. And so the cup probably falls third into that. So I understand it. But do you think if they'd start with those players, they would have more likely won today?
I think Ole set the team up thinking, hopefully I can rest a few players and get away with this here, give a few players a game, and hopefully we can come out with something. But I think it was very disrespectful towards Leicester, knowing that Leicester are right up there in the league with us, and they're a dangerous side, and they proved it today. If we'd been playing a Chelsea today, if we'd been playing a Man City or a Liverpool, we would never have started with that.
I've got to say, with both Maddison and then Barnes at the side, I thought, that's it. That's it now for Leicester. A bit like back in the day with them when they won the league. That's it now. They're not going to push on from here, and they do keep surprising people, myself included. I still think they're going to choke at some point.
They are quality. They're quality, and Vardy. On paper, Vardy is out of form, but they've now got
Iheanacho
just stepped up, smashing him.
Vardy's
full of confidence.
Playing differently all of a sudden, isn't he? Playing different role. He's going deeper. He's creating, putting things on plates for Iheanacho as well.
Yeah. He's almost taking on the role Kane has kind of taken on this season, isn't it?
So Pogba came on in Europa League, won you the game. Well, scored the winning goal, I should say. A very nice goal it was too. So your Solskjaer, Mark, I'm going to ask all three of this question. your Solskjaer, on the basis of what you've seen on Pogba's return, do you keep him in the summer? Because he seems to have struck something with Bruno Fernandes, or do you let him move on?
If Pogba is genuinely happy to stay, we keep him. If there's any doubt he's happy to stay, he has to go. But yes, if he's happy to stay, of course we want to keep him. This season, Pogba has been a saving grace in some games. And I think recently him being out injured proved it to us. And I think a majority of United fans were thinking, when's he coming back? Because we really need that bit of flair, that ignition on the pitch.
Yeah.
It can't always be down to Fernandes.
Fernandes isn't always on form, is he? And that's the thing. He does disappear on the odd game, particularly when he starts. You know, and it's quite often a game that you think he's not gonna disappear on, that he does, isn't it? But see your point.
He always puts in a lot of effort, but he can't win every game on his own.
Agreed. Right, Fergus, your Solskjaer, do you stick or twist with Pogba?
I kind of agree with what Mark's saying there, because if his heart's really in it, then keep him. But if it was me personally, there was periods over the last few seasons where I would liken Pogba very much to Ozil, because the ability's there, but they just don't seem to really want to go that extra mile for the team. They just didn't seem to want to put the effort in. This season's different. It does seem to have, I would feel like I'd already seen too much of him not applying himself. That would have kind of led me to him wanting to go. Probably, if it was me and I was look at the Man United team. But if he's got something to offer and he's prepared to put in a shift, and he really wants to be at the club, then why not sign him? But if I was Solskjaer, I'd probably be looking to be cashing in and try and find someone who did want to put in that shift. They look where they found someone like Fernandes, he was like the missing link of what Man United had needed for ages, being able to completely turn him around. And I would just wonder whether there's too much baggage with Pogba, where you think, well, let's just freshen it up a bit, get him out, get one or two players, get one player of quality in, and a younger player ready to kind of that can step into a role in the midfield in future, and just freshen it up. But yeah, that's what I would do if it was me. I've kind of seen a bit of enough of Pogba. He's a great player, but I would have seen too many years of him frustrating me. If I was supporting Man United, I'd probably want to move on.
Yeah. I've still got a soft spot for him. Paul. Martin. You're not Martin, you're Solskjaer.
Don't ever do that again.
No, I won't. I can't even do it.
Realistically, right, I think this has been a big thing that I've noticed on Twitter and Facebook. Is all these people talking about what they're going to do in the summer transfer window, when realistically, you'd be lucky if there is one. Like if we're talking about Pogba, you're not going to get rid of Pogba. The fee is going to scare most people off. That's if there isn't some form of deflation on transfer fees as a whole. I think he's a quality player, and if I was Solskjaer, I would want him to stay, because he's shown up that's given you the 3 points or progressed you to the next round. So I think you would definitely need to look at keeping him. And obviously he was unhappy with that point before, and his agent come out in the media and said that he wanted out, and then strangely after that he started performing. But yeah, I think this idea that people are going to be able to go and spend loads of money in the summer is just bonkers, because there's just no money to be spent.
Good point, Martin. It's a good point. Right, we're into the last few minutes of the show, guys. So I've got a special treat for you, Fergus, as you probably saw from the screenshot I sent you earlier, to finish off with. So it's a round robin. So your top 3 Arsenal players in the Premier League era, with the exception of taking Henry and Bergkamp out of the equation, because we all know that they're probably going to be on everyone's list. So taking those two out of the equation, who are your top 3 Arsenal players? Fergus.
It's so weird that when you sent that through, so I was kind of thinking of that. I don't know why I was thinking of that this morning, but I'm not going to think about Arsenal all the time. I definitely don't. But the players that absolutely have to be on the list are Fabregas and Vieira. I think Fabregas was so. Sorry,
you got two of mine there.
Right, yeah. I think Fabregas for so many reasons was so like the actual pure joy of watching someone play football. Like you used to get that from watching Fabregas. I don't care who you supported. If you watch Fabregas, you're watching a quality player, vision, really quick, turn, passing. He had everything. It was absolute quality. In a period when we were pretty bad, we managed to keep him sticking around for quite a period. But yeah, he gave me a lot of moments, and I was absolutely gutted when he left. Even more gutted when he went to Chelsea and didn't come back to Arsenal. I think there was an opportunity for us to get him back, but we'd stuck all our eggs in the Ozil-shaped basket, which is annoying. So I'd love to see him come back. Vieira, just absolute quality. We've been crying out for how many times we've been crying out for a Vieira type player. I heard that about Arsenal ever since. But he was phenomenal when he came on the scene at Arsenal. It was almost impossible. If he wanted to win a game, he could almost make sure that Arsenal won a game that day, and he would drag us out. So talk about grabbing a game by the scruff of the neck. He was the man. He would do it on a regular basis. It's insane. And then when it comes to the third one, probably because I still get so much enjoyment out of watching him on TV still, it'd have to be Ian Wright. Again, from like a very young age of supporting Arsenal, he was the main man. Probably didn't achieve as much in the Premier League. It's when you're supporting Arsenal, I've been asked this question throughout my life for so many different people. And I could have quite easily said Pires or Tony Adams or a few. We were very fortunate to have had a lot of players, but Ian Wright would have to take the third spot just because he's an absolute legend. He still gives me a lot of amusement seeing him on the telly today.
Martin, I know you might find it hard to be objective for this particular question, but if you can be as objective as possible.
Sol Campbell.
Clever, yeah. Is that it? Just Sol Campbell times 3?
I can't hear a word you're saying. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sounds like you're Darth Vader.
Okay.
Hang on, come back to me.
Mark, who are your top 3?
Vieira, you can't deny, can you? Got to stick him in there. I think you've got to answer this question as to players that could get into any team in the world at their peak. And for me, that's Vieira, Ashley Cole, and oh god, I'm between Tony Adams and Pires, but I'll go Tony Adams. Because I think he could have been in any.
It was a great game. I think it was a night that Arsenal, the first time under Wenger, and Tony Adams scored the final goal of the game, and it just was out of position and striker's finish. You just never expect from Adams in a million years. There was a lot of neutral love that night for what Arsenal had done that season and the way they rampaged the second half of the season to win the league. And for Tony Adams, coming towards the end of his career to score such a great winner was a sight to behold. Gone sideways, Martin.
I don't know what's going on here.
Oh, there you go. So we're nearly done, Martin. So who are your top 3? You said Campbell was 1. You got any more?
Sorry, I might have said Campbell.
I was going to say, get that Judas off my ideas. Not for chance in hell.
I wonder why you were looking at me like that. No one knows.
There might be a goal coming up here, boys, by the way. If you want to know. Otherwise, I'll keep straight.
Definitely want to know. Oh. That was a definite foul, wasn't it? That's penalty then.
It's a penalty.
And it's... Do you want to know? Or you want to time delay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone. 2-0 Kane.
There you go.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised. I still don't think we're playing great, but anyway. Right, so Arsenal. I mean, my childhood thinking, you're looking at Vieira, Tony Adams, and just for a bit of a laugh, I think Eduardo, bless him, he had his career cut short, didn't he? So... well, maybe his Arsenal career. I didn't, try to avoid paying too much attention.
Well,
but
I've got to say, I can't believe that nobody has gone for Nicholas Bentner. But there you go. My 3
Well, Lord Bentner, wasn't it? Lord Bentner.
Yeah, Nicholas
Lord
Bentner went
Bentner,
for
yeah.
Nicholas Bentner. If you're asking him that question, he would have said himself.
He's like, I'm voting for the GOAT. It's me. So I went for Fabregas as well. Yeah, just everything that you said, Fergus. Just such a joy to watch as a footballer. Absolutely brilliant. And I know he didn't play all the time when he went to Barca, but when he did, set the world on fire there as well. And was brilliant for the Spanish national team too.
Yeah.
And Vieira as well for everything he did. Anyone that was willing to go toe to toe was Roy Keane again and again. It was really worth the medal. But he had skill and grace as well, which was quite rare to see in that holding mid position. He did the box to box thing, just a superb footballer. And then my third one, and I'm glad that no one else came up with it, Marc Overmars, who I just thought was exceptional.
I was thinking Overmars. Yeah.
I love players that skip down the wing and jump over tackles and try and stay on their feet. And he also had that little low curl goal into the bottom corner as well. But it was always a joy to see. So I think we've got a good bunch of players down there. So we'll wrap up, gents. So we can all get onto line of duty at 9 o'clock. We'll go and get some biscuits and crisps and stuff. Thank you all for coming on tonight. This has been Football Fever. So as I said at the start, we're live every week at 8 o'clock on Sunday on Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube as well. So please like and share. Tell all your friends if you want to come and join the show in future. Just give us a shout. Thanks very much, gents, and see you soon.
Thank you, Al. Cheers, mate.
See you later, guys.
Cheers, guys. Nice to meet you.